Hello and welcome to our webcast series on the topic of interpenetration. So in this video we're going to look at how to use the vertical sections method to locate points of interpenetration between two solids. So we'll first of all begin by looking at what happens if we have one solid. So here we have an irregular pyramid and we have a single line that's going to pierce through our pyramid. And from our example here you can see that there are going to be 2 points where our line is going to pierce our pyramid. We're going to see it's going to enter into our pyramid along this surface here, and it's going to exit our pyramid on this surface here. So we're going to take our 2 points and find each of them separately. So to begin with, we're going to look at our entry point on this surface here. So we'll identify the point in, or the surface in our plan view, so 0, 6 and 5. And what we'll notice is that we have an edge view of that up here in our elevation. So that actually simplifies finding our piercing point, because it means that where the line 1 here enters into our, or hits our edge view, gives us the actual piercing point. So that's our piercing point here, and I'm going to call that 1L, so 1 on the left hand side, and where it leaves the object is going to be 1R. So to find it in our plan view, we just simply project downwards and extend our line on, giving us our piercing point in our plan view. So when we have an edge view of a surface, it really simplifies finding our piercing points. But if you look at our second surface, this surface here, what you'll find is that we don't actually have an edge view of that in either elevation or plan view. So now you could go and take an auxiliary looking along the line, say 5, 4, redraw in your pyramid and redraw in your line piercing through it, and in this case you'll actually have an edge view of your surface in your auxiliary, and your point here would be your piercing point, which you can continue down to your plan view. But there's quite a lot of construction involved in this method, so we're going to use a different method, our vertical sections method, to try and do this in a much simpler manner. So the vertical sections method is based upon the idea of having a vertical plane like so. So it's just a plane, like a sheet of glass standing upright from the ground, and basically as we push this back through our pyramid, it's going to cut or section our pyramid. So we'll just take an example of that. Here we can see it's sectioning or cutting through our pyramid, and we stop it when it meets the line number 1, like so. So both the line and our cut surface here are both on the one plane. So in our elevation, or in our plan view, what this looks like is simply just a line on our line number 1. So this is an edge view of our cutting plane seen from above. And what we want to do now is identify or locate this cut surface in our elevation. So you can see my cutting plane cuts this baseline here and this diagonal line on my pyramid. So the baseline here is the line 4, 5, and that locates me my point up here in my elevation. So that's where the cutting plane cuts that line 5 and 4. It also cuts the line 0 and 5 here, my diagonal line, so I'm going to project that up onto the line 0, 5 up here, and that locates me my cut line here. So that cut line corresponds with my cut line here, and you can see all I need to do now is extend on my line number 1 to give me my piercing point 1R, where my line leaves the pyramid. So to find it in a plan view, we project it down, and there's my piercing point located in my plan view. So that is the vertical sections method used to locate our piercing points for a straight line and an irregular pyramid. In our next example, we're going to basically bring it up one level from that, where instead of a single line, we're going to look at a triangular prism. And our triangular prism is pretty much the same thing, only instead of having a single line, here we have 1 edge, 2 edge, and 3 edges on our solid, which I've just labelled accordingly, 1, 2, and 3 in plan view, and exactly the same then in our elevation. And we're just going to use our same approach, so we're going to first of all locate our entry points on this surface here. So we'll identify the surface, and like before, we see it as an edge view here in our elevation. So to locate our piercing points for 1, 2, and 3, we already have them in our elevation view. So we can label them up, 2L, 1L, and 3L, and just simply project them down to plan view and extend the line on, giving us our piercing point. So that's for 2L, there's for 1L, and there's 3L, like so. And once we have all 3 points, we just join them up, 1, 2, and 3, giving us our line of interpenetration, where one solid pierces through the pyramid, where our prism pierces through our pyramid on the left hand side. Now, when it comes to the right hand side, we have the same problem as what we had before. We know that we don't have an edge view of that surface in either elevation or plan view, so we need to use our vertical sections. So because we have 3 edges, we're going to use 3 sections. So our first section is going to be on the edge number 1, and you can see there's our edge, our slice in our 3D view. So we're going to try and locate our cut surface, or cut edge here, same as what we did before. When it crosses the line 5 and 4, bring it up, locating it in elevation. Where it crosses the line 0, 5, bring it up, locate it in elevation, giving us our cut edge. And then we just extend on our line number 1, because line number 1 is on the cutting plane, exactly the same as our cut surface. Both of them are on this cutting plane. So that's our piercing point in elevation, project it down to plan view and extend out our line to locate as our piercing point in plan. And really all we're doing then is just repeating the process. We're moving our sectional plane back to our second edge, edge number 2, giving us our new cut surface, and we find it exactly the same as before. So there's our cut surface from where it cuts the base, where it cuts the diagonal, and you'll note that the line here is parallel to the original cut line, because we've the same vertical plane just moving backwards along the same surface, so we'd expect it to give us these 2 parallel lines. And so we extend 2 on, bring it down to plan to locate our piercing points in elevation and plan, and just repeat the process then for edge number 3. So our third cutting plane, our third section, and there's our third section line, like so. Extend line number 3 onto it to give us 3R, project it down to plan to locate all of our points in our plan view. So all we do then is just join up our points, so we can join them up in elevation here to give us our line of interpenetration. Here we have the same thing in our plan view, giving us our lines of interpenetration in plan view. And now we have the question completed. So that's our question here solved using our vertical sections method. And if you want to look at, say, our next video will be related to, say, a full leaving certificate question using this method. As always, I hope this is of some use to you, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you very much.